English Story C1 A Leap of Faith. The weather had been abysmal for weeks. Rain, snow, wind, storms. It felt like Laura couldn't escape. She was working from home and couldn't get out and about like she normally would. She was chained to her laptop in what felt like never-ending online meetings, spreadsheets, and emails. She was well and truly fed up. She knew she had to change something. But what? She wanted to escape, to live somewhere sunny and hot, but she knew that would only ever happen in her daydreams. She couldn't possibly imagine that she would ever take a leap of faith and move to another country, no matter how miserable she was in her current situation. Laura tried to have as much fun as she could outside of her job. She lived by the motto of, "You work to live, not live to work." Work, for Laura, was a way to make money, so she could do the things she enjoyed. When she wasn't swimming or at the archery club, she was visiting friends and family and reading. She loved to read. She had hundreds of books. Laura's job was all right. Well, it was better than all right in the eyes of her family and friends. She was a senior marketing manager in a very well-established company. The problem was, the job bored her to tears. She thought working in marketing would be creative and challenging, but her main challenge was trying to stay awake during long, tedious meetings. Most of her job involved analysing data and working out when and where they should place their marketing advertisements. She used to find it interesting, but the company wasn't for her anymore. She always felt like this in the winter. She got frustrated by the grey skies and the sad looks on everyone's faces. Maybe if she lived in Los Angeles, where the sun always shone, then she'd feel different. But then she knew she'd missed the seasons. Laura was always in some sort of predicament or other. But how could she fix this one? Something in her life had to change. She either had to move somewhere new or she had to get a new job. Everything else in her life was fine. Laura decided to make a pros and cons list to help her decipher what she wanted to change. The pros were detailed and fun. The cons were short and not so sweet. The main cons revolved around her job and the weather. Now, if she wanted to stay in England, there wasn't a lot she could do about the cloudy winter skies, but she could do something about her data-driven, dull job. She completed online quizzes, spoke to friends, and looked through her university transcripts to see where she scored highest on her work. Laura wasn't any clearer on what she wanted to do. She started to think about what she really wanted. She loved to have fun, enjoy the great outdoors, and challenge herself. So she decided to look up jobs within the recreational sector. To her surprise, there were loads. Perhaps she could move to the sector and work in marketing, and then maybe teach a bit of archery on the side. Most of the jobs were as instructors, but she didn't fancy that. She'd rather be the one getting instructed. She would only consider teaching archery now and again, and not as a full-time profession. She decided to try her luck, and she put together a cover letter and CV specifically for an outdoors company. They were based in the beautiful Welsh countryside. If Laura worked there, she would only be a few hours away from her family, but she would be able to experience a completely different life. She submitted her documents and inquired if they had any positions within their marketing team. She didn't expect to hear anything. After all, there were no similar positions posted on their recruitment page. But lo and behold, just hours later, Laura got a call from the recruitment coordinator at the Outdoor Adventure Centre. "You must be psychic," he said. "I was just putting together a job spec for the sort of role you're looking for." They chatted for an hour. The recruiter was called Peter. He told her all about the centre, where it was based, and the realities of working and living in a rural part of the country. As the call came to an end, Peter invited Laura to Wales to meet the team. She would have to present some ideas of how she'd market the centre to audiences not only in Wales, but all over the world. She was ready for the challenge. Laura had a week to prepare and put all her energy and spare time into researching and analysing the relevant target audiences. She found her passion for her job came back again. She was researching into something she was actually interested in, for a change. She didn't tell any of her colleagues what she was up to. She booked a holiday day for her interview and decided she would stay there for the following weekend and Monday. If she was successful, she wanted to see what the surrounding area was like. Laura's skin felt prickly with anticipation. She was excited but nervous. This could be it, the change she was looking for. The day of the interview came. She had a huge tour of the centre, met loads of the staff, and presented her strategy to the team. They were gobsmacked. She'd gone above and beyond all their expectations. It was obvious to them that she was the right match for the team. The only problem for Laura was the salary. It was significantly less than what she was on at her current company. She decided to take the weekend to think about the offer. She spent the weekend exploring the area, driving to nearby villages, and researching how much it would cost to live there. She couldn't believe how much cheaper it would be. She'd also get free use of all the adventure park, meaning she didn't have to pay for swimming pools or archery workshops anymore. That already made a considerable difference to her outgoings every month. The weekend was great. Laura stayed in a B&B and found the locals to be friendly. The weather wasn't the best, but that was okay, because it gave her a more rounded view of what it would really be like to live there, rainy weather and all. When Monday arrived, Laura went back to the Adventure Centre. She had another tour, and the recruitment officer said they would be willing to offer her more holiday days to compensate for the lower salary. They also said they'd throw in an activity of her choice for that day. She opted for a skydive. Laura was terrified of heights, but it was now or never. They suited her up, gave her a quick lesson in how to hold herself and how she will be attached to her instructor. She was trembling with nerves. Luckily, her instructor, Mark, put her at ease. They got in the plane and slowly ascended to the jump zone. She wanted to scream and get out of it, but she knew she had to do it. On the way up to the jump zone, Laura saw the beautiful views of the Welsh countryside from her little window. She felt like this was what she was meant to do. It would be a drop in salary, but it would be an increase to her quality of life. She knew she had a sense of adventure. Now she had to put it into practice. As she made her way to the plane door, along with her instructor, she knew she was about to take a leap of faith in both the literal and figurative sense. Would you ever do a skydive? Tell us in the comments below. We hope you enjoyed this lovely English story. Thank you for stopping by. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share.